So here we are about to start the 2 p.m. of La Bataille de Espagnol-Talavera, and quite a lot's moved on. I think it's been about an hour, so that's 3 turns since the last video. Now you can see it still looks a terrible mess, but you can see that the British, who were previously occupying these heights, have managed to move out and are now starting to form up here, basically anchored on these orchards where they can form lines, and then into these groves here where they have to be in a general order, with what will be the remnants of the Spanish army on their right. The Spanish are just being finally pushed out of Talavera. Well, this side of Talavera. Actually, I say finally, but in fact, you see here, these are 2 Spanish battalions that had a bit of a success routing away one of the French units in the town. So that was surprising, and I have to say I have made some mistakes in that I keep, one mistake that I keep forgetting that the Spanish have to roll for a morale check, even if they're fired on, even if there's no damage. I've forgotten a few of those checks, so I had to sort of go back and rectify something from at least the last turn. This is French cavalry. Here's a Spanish line. So that's essentially where the Spanish are. British forming up behind them. The British, there's a Spanish artillery there. These Spanish artillery are down to their last ammunition. That's French, but you can see the French are going to break through soon. So some of these British have to move around, some of these here moving further around, but still that there are Spanish cavalry dotted about here, and hopefully some of these will be rallied. So the French are well over the stream. These are Dutch units on the French side. There's some cavalry charges and counter charges had occurred there. And the one thing that is really helping the British is, you see these stacks, each one of those has a British battalion underneath, but the green counter indicates a British rifle company. Now they don't have any combat strength of their own, but any French unit adjacent to them that takes a morale check has -6 added to it. Essentially, they're getting severe harassment from these very effective sharpshooters. So that has sent quite a few of the French backwards. The French Guard are forming back into their reserve after they initiated the original flanking manoeuvre there. And the French line divisions are coming up to the front. These are British cavalry here, and some Spanish cavalry coming to supplement them. A few French cavalry there, holding the flanks. Interesting point we come to here on the morale levels is that the first corps is just on morale. It's just got 1 unit in plus grand disorder. These 3 have, and the 4th corps have routed completely off the map, so they are eliminated. And then there's another in plus grand disorder which we just saw, and then there's another. This unit has actually been eliminated. Oh, he must have routed. No, that was right, he was surrounded and captured. So he's still got 6 increments of strength, but that unit was completely captured. So the 4th corps is on the 1st morale level, which is not good. The French don't want that kind of thing to happen. So I'm thinking what's going to happen, although if and when this unit is rallied, they'll go back down to morale level 0, but obviously they'll be right on the edge. And just to show you that the British, comparatively, they also have another unit here that was completely surrounded, even with its rifle company taken prisoner, and then 2 in plus grand disorder, which are perilously near the edge of the map up here. So the British are okay at the moment with morale levels. I think what's going to be happening now is that the French are going to regroup and reorganise their attack, which essentially is going to try and mean some manoeuvre. So it will give the British and the Spanish also time to reorganise. But if the French push the attack with the Fourth Corps, which are on this side now, they're going to get progressively debilitated. And the First Corps are fresh, and they've got many units still in regiment formation. They haven't been broken down to battalions, so they haven't been in the fighting yet. So there will probably be a French push around here. But I think there's going to be a slight lull in the battle, which is probably just as well because it's a boiling hot, I think, was it June or July, 2 p.m. in the middle of the heat of the day. Okay, and that's an interesting thing with this in here, because these units have double exhaustion or double tiredness, so the cavalry charges and melees are quite tiring for those poor horses. They're not going to happen as often as they might, or not as frequently. Yes, so okay. Just some notable events to speak of. This here is actually Sebastiani. He's a corps leader, and he was lurking in these woods here. I think he'd been rallying some troops when the Spanish guns here found no one in front of them, and because of this. Oh yes, that's right. That it was the unit there that was surrounded that I showed you that was captured by the Spanish. But anyway, this artillery unit had no one to fire on it. It's going to get overrun soon, so it took a chance pot shot on, I think, a 2 in 36 chance. It managed to get a hit on Sebastiani. He could have been killed. He was very lucky. He rolled a 6, which is just a flesh wound, so he survived to live another day. We've had 2 leader casualties so far, but they both actually 2 other leader casualties, and they were both not just flesh wounds, but kind of like wounded arms or legs or something. They've actually come back into the fighting. I think just to say what I'm thinking is here's some French cavalry here, and so there's some here to recover. They need to move around here and take out the British and Spanish cavalry. That's going to stretch. The British then will probably have to form up around here, and there might be time to switch, so the French Fourth Corps could come around here and the French First Corps, fresh ones, could come around here. On the other hand, they're already close here, aren't they? It makes sense for them just to try and then push through there. I think that's going to be the plan. We'll see how the British and Spanish can reorganise around that. So it's the end of the first 20 minutes of the 2 a.m. hour. So that's the first turn of this hour, and the British cavalry have routed away the French. This is a French cavalry unit, but essentially there was 2 heavy cavalries, British, and these are light French. So the French are left with 1 light cavalry there and a whole bunch of British cavalry. So that is threatening the advance here. But the French have a mass of cavalry coming around here. It will take them 1, 2, 3, 4 turns to be able to go into action. So the odd one like this one, miles away. There's very little fighting, just some skirmishing. So the British are forming up their line, and the French have sort of drawn back a bit, and they're not pushing forward, let's say. And we had another setback here for the French. So although the Spanish are progressively sort of routing out of Talavera, they still have enough units left to hold it. So and you can see that the French don't really have any to even if these units did get through, they couldn't have much effect going this way. So the French are very spread out. They do have units they could relieve up here, so the 4th Corps could move a whole way further back there. But as we saw, the 4th Corps are on a morale level, so they're not happy to fight at the moment. The British were considering seeing the wavering to force a push, but there's too much pressure going on here to think about that yet. So all the way back here is the 4th Corps incriminating unit. If that unit is rallied, it didn't manage to rally last turn, then the 4th Corps will go back to 0 morale level. If it's not rallied, it's going to be off the board this turn, yeah, the end of next turn, and so then they will be permanently on morale level 1, no way to recover from that. So these next few turns I think are going to go a bit quickly as each side consolidates and sort of draws a breath, sees where they are. Maybe the French will shift all the way around here. They will sort of abandon Talavera as a point of attack. I don't think they've got enough strength to force the issue over the whole breadth of that dog's leg. Their other alternative is to try and push up through here and effectively cut the British off from the road, because that's their objective, the road on the map fold there. Obviously this way they'll be able to sort of get the end of it, but the British could retreat back on it and result in some very heavy and bloody fighting at the back there, because these skirmishes are quite handy. That the skirmishes just caused a disruption and a hit on the French, so they chip away quite nicely at the French units. The British have quite a few of them. They're not all deployed at the moment, so they're going to be hard to dislodge. And the other thing being that French roll for morale checks on the first hit they take. The British are stalwart. They roll on the second on evens, on even numbers. French rolls on odds, so it takes 2 hits for the British to take a first morale check. Okay, so I think I better send this one up. We'll see what happens in the next hour or so.